Hi everybody, welcome to this week's digital edition of Overdrive. I am Sohini Dutt. As you saw on the montage that we played for you just a few seconds ago, there is plenty to go about on this week's show. So don't go anywhere. In fact, stay close by and you can send us all your queries. Bert and Rohit will be joining us pretty soon to field all of your questions. Now, to start off the show, we will be talking about a hatchback. In fact, when the BS6 norms came into effect, a lot of manufacturers decided to do away with their diesel motors and focus solely on their petrol counterparts. And one such manufacturer has been Volkswagen India. The car that I'm talking about is the Volkswagen Polo. In fact, it now comes with a smaller capacity turbo petrol, but that hasn't really dampened our spirits. And here's why.
Though not very evident in this shade of grey, there is a bit of the Polo GTI inspiration if you look at the bumpers with a keen eye. Both have a unique detailing now. The rear bumper looks particularly good, the overall treatment is sporty, and adding to it are the tiny side skirts and the large for the class 16-inch alloy wheels. This isn't the TSI edition, so it gets a different spoiler and is devoid of any decals. The iconic wedge shape of the Polo and the details are clearly no match for new age designs like the Ultras or the upcoming new i20, yet the balance of the Polo's proportions still has its own charm. Where the old age of this platform is visible is right here in the cabin space, especially the rear seat space. So while the engine is really small now, the rest of the packaging is not in tune with modern day engineering, and that is why the cabin space is still a little bit of a compromise for rear seat occupants, especially if it's going to be adults. You also don't get a center armrest, you have rear AC vents, but yeah, that's about it. What has been maintained over the years though is the German fit and finish, which has pushed the entire competition to respond and up their game. So if your new Asian hatchback feels premium today, the benchmark set by the Polo probably had something to do with it. Now the Polo is playing catch up though. The infotainment has been equipped with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but there is no sign of a reversing camera or even a push-button starter. I believe to go with the sporty exterior of this car, Volkswagen could have also finished these bezels here or the bezels around the AC vents in a sportier shade, or maybe even matching the exterior colors. That would have instantly lifted the appeal of this cabin, instantly made it look like a facelift. That's, I think, a missed opportunity. Well, the engine, it comes to a start in a typical 3-cylinder manner, so you have that thrummy note to it, you have those vibrations in the pedals, and it idles at about 900 RPM, which is fine, quite silent actually. But once you start getting a roll on, and that might take a little bit of effort because you need to build the revs a little bit to make sure that it doesn't stall and all of that. It's got a variable geometry turbocharger, but under 2000 RPM there's hardly any juice, meaning that you need to be in lower gears for driving this in the city or pulling overtakes, compared to what you would need in the larger engines that the Polo has had before. The 3 to 5000 RPM is the sweet spot for this car. That is where it starts putting a smile on your face, a smile that is typical to a Polo with a sprightly engine. The power, it starts tapering after about 6000 RPM, so 3 to 5 is that sweet spot. Whether you're driving in the twisties, out on the highway, this is where you want to be in. And you can even short shift if you have to, and you will not really lose much on the performance end, maybe half a second here and there. But like I said, the punch of the 3 to 5 is what you want and what you will enjoy. In fact, this is more enjoyable in this zone than a Ford Figo or a Baleno RS, and this also happens to be the quickest mass production hatchback that we've tested for a 0 to 100 run. The fly in the ointment is the engine sound, which gets noisy past the 4000 RPM mark, and not in a very pleasing way that the 1.2 TSI's 4-cylinder configuration managed. Volkswagen has a new 6-speed unit on the 1-litre TSI engine. The throws are short, the shift quality is decent, but not as likable or precise as you would expect from German engineering. The clutch is quite springy too, but the new gearbox manages to help the car cruise effortlessly at highway speeds without compromising drivability in the city. While it complements the eager nature of this tiny motor, it also helps extract excellent fuel economy from it. You could also choose a 6-speed automatic, but only in the top trims. Choosing the top spec models also gets you features like electrically adjustable wing mirrors, auto-dimming cabin mirror, and rear AC vents. But ESP and traction control are now given a miss, which is a big downer. Also, you can only have a maximum of 2 airbags, which further dampens the safety quotient. The bottom line is, despite its age and lack of equipment, the Polo is still a likable car. The engine isn't as refined as the 1.2 that it replaces, but it still has the punch and doesn't feel like a compromise. So if the Polo has been on your radar, buying one now and owning it for the next 5 years may not be a bad idea after all. But there is no denying that the competition has taken the game further and there are better options available in the market right now.
Well, just like Rohit mentioned in this story, there are a couple of options that are available to you. Technically speaking, the Grand i10 Neos Turbo is its primary rival, but let me just bring Rohit onto the show. Hi, Rohit.
Hello, Sohini.
Thanks so much
Hello,
for joining us.
Thank you so much for
So
having
we were
us.
just going to talk. We were just going to talk about the rivals. So why don't you go right into it?
Right, so the Polo, it has quite a few variants now to choose from. There's a 1 liter MPI. I don't like that engine at all. I've said it as much in my review. The 1 liter TSI that you just saw, lovely engine, lovely gearbox as well. The performance is something that I'm still smiling about. We just drove that car earlier this week and I absolutely love it. There are, of course, a lot of options in the market because the Polo has been around for over a decade now. And that means that the competition has even changed generations, so to speak, whereas the Polo is still trying to soldier on with the current platform. And that's because the new Polo, they just can't get it in the right price bracket if they were to bring it to India. But Volkswagen is working on that. So the current rivals are basically the Grand i10 Neos with the new 1 liter turbo engine. Lovely engine again, something that will go head on against the Polo 1.0 that you saw a little while back. And though that's actually the natural rival, if you're thinking about it from an enthusiast perspective, because the Baleno RS is already out, the Ford Figo, not many are buying it. So these two happen to be the only enthusiast products out there that are pegged to be so. And then there are the usual rivals. You have the i20, soon to be replaced by the new i20. You also have the Swift. Again, a beautiful 1.2 liter K series motor doing duty in it. I personally like that engine in the Ignis, which is in the same price bracket as the Polo and the Grand i10 Neo. So there is a lot of competition out there. And then you have the new age i20, like I said, and the Ultras, which have pushed the design envelope to a different level, where the Polo is now starting to look very dated, very old. I still like the design, like I mentioned in the review, because these minimalist designs, they really look nice. They age quite well, and that is why I like the Polo. There's nothing wrong with it if you were to choose one right now. Even if you were to choose one now and own it for the next 5 years, it may not be a bad idea after all. Like I already showed you in the review, there is enough kit even with this aging platform. There's enough kit in there. But if you want a safer car, if you want a car that is for the entire family and not just for the front seat occupants, then you might want to look elsewhere because 2 airbags is the maximum number of airbags that you can get with the Polo, no matter what edition, no matter what trim level you choose, which in my books is a bit of a downer. To get that price advantage, they've reduced the number of safety features available. ESP traction control is out of the box even for the automatic variants. So in my books, that's a bit of a downer. They ought to have given that since the platform is so old. These were the only things that could sort of give it the upper hand over some of the rivals that are not offering it. So it's a missed opportunity, is what I believe. But like I said, going with a Polo, owning it for the next 5 years, even today, is not a bad idea at all.
All right, I just want to add one thing. Karnama Cars is saying, why aren't you showing this on TV? We do have this lined up for this week's show. In fact, we weren't able to show you the full story. This will be on air tomorrow at 1 p.m. on CNBC TV 18. But I see you're sweating it out at home.
For the new GLE, just got done with that long drive, lots of work happening over there. And yeah, just kind of made it home just about in time. Actually missed the opening of this show, but I'm here now, ready to answer any questions.
Lucky you. I don't think. I think a lot of people on the watching this stream right now would want to be in your shoes, driving the GLE.
Yeah, but it also means we're up and about. We're moving around Mumbai city. There's a lot of there's a lot of cars out on the street. I'm getting into traffic jams also. A couple of days ago, I got into a traffic jam, and while things are still very, very serious, and we at our end are trying to achieve what we have to do quite responsibly. I still think a lot of people should be recommended to stay at home, stay safe, don't venture out unless it's absolutely necessary. Things are still bad, and there's no point taking that kind of risk.
Right. We'll just. But is there anything more that you would want to add on the Polo 1.0 TSI?
Well, the 1 liter TSI by itself, I mean, it's a fantastic engine. Let's not be disillusioned by the fact that the 1 liter engine of an engine of that capacity, in a hatchback is a very good fit. The part weight ratio is fantastic, and while I haven't driven it as yet myself, the team has, and they seem pretty optimistic about it. I have driven other 1 liter turbo petrols for that matter, and they're a lot of fun in the Polo with the kind of dynamics, the kind of precision, the fun factor that you get out of driving that car. Anyway, because of the way the suspension is being tuned, because of the stiffness of that chassis, it's going to be a hoot to actually own and drive. So I think there's a lot of positives to look forward to in the 1 liter TSI. The 1 liter TSI. The other part of this is that turbocharged direct injection engines from Volkswagen is also coming out. They're coming out with a lot of these in a big way in some of the other products. We're going to be seeing them in the T-Roc and subsequently in the Taygun and various other cars that are going to come out. This is essentially going to be a big mantra for Volkswagen right now. Petrols are going to be in the forefront. It's going to be what's on offer in most of the products, and I think it's something that's interesting to look at.
All right. Sushant Pawar has sort of jumped the gun. He is saying, when will the new Polo launch in the European markets? When is that expected? He says that the backseat of the current Polo is really low. He's a Polo owner himself. Yeah, that's what he has to say.
Well, the back seat is low, yes, but the ergonomics for a car of that order, I mean, most of the cars in that segment, the ergonomics are pretty similar. The Polo, yes, it's a little, the seats sit a little closer to the ground or the floor pan for that matter, and ingress, egress is a bit of an issue. But Sushant, I mean, you're a young chap, you sound like a young chap, you shouldn't have a problem getting into the back seat, unless, of course, it's your folks that are driving around, and, yes, it can be an issue for them to get into and out of the car. I've had that on occasion when I had the Polo with me at home and taken my dad out for a drive, and he's always had an issue getting in and out of the car. But otherwise, I mean, yes, it is still, like he says, it still is the car to beat for sure.
All right. Let's just move on to our next story that we have. Now, Mercedes-Benz earlier this week has just launched what they call the S-class of SUVs. I'm talking about the GLS. It has been launched at 99.90 lakh rupees. Here's a quick look at that video.
Today it's a special day for us because we have just launched the all-new GLS in India after a big gap. Last 6 months we didn't have this car. It was completely sold out last year, and we had a lot of customers asking for this new car. So what's so special about the new GLS? The customers always love the new GLS for its size and the proportions. And here our engineers have actually gone a step ahead. They have made it even bigger. The car just stretches itself, a wheelbase which has gone up by 60 mm, and that means enough space inside, and that also means we have now added more luxury quotient. For example, there is a chauffeur package which enables a big seating comfort for the rear seat passenger. You can just push the front seat ahead. We have the rear seat entertainment packages. We have also a rear tablet, so a customer can sit there and he can actually control the ambient lighting. It has 5-zone air conditioning, which is with charcoal filter, so it's quite clean air always inside. It has luxury, and that's why we call it also the S-Class of SUVs. I think we are all kicked about this launch. There has been a gap earlier, and now with the new GLS coming, we have filled this gap in the top-end luxury SUV space.
Well, like he said, it's the S-Class on wheels for SUVs. What do you guys have to say about it?
Well, I'd say yes, it definitely is a very luxurious SUV in this space. I'm not. It is the S class. Yes, it is the S class on steroids. It is the S class on stilts. It's the S class that can go anywhere. And in that sense, Mercedes-Benz does a tremendous job of offering one of the finest luxury elements inside a package of this sort. But I mean, more than that, I think it's the new range of engines that Mercedes-Benz has got, especially that 400D. In fact, I just like I mentioned, I was out driving a Mercedes-Benz today, the GLE, and that's the 400D. And you know the power, the way it outputs, the way it sounds, the way it feels, that rush of torque that it delivers, it's just insane. It takes what just a few seconds to get a triple digit speed. So that performance is exhilarating. It's just absolutely exhilarating from the diesel. The petrol, yes, they're fine. They're refined. They're luxurious, silky, and not to say the 450 also is a bomb of an engine. But I mean, I loved diesels for a long time simply because of the kind of torque that they got to offer, the dexterity that these diesels have. It's just fantastic. So I think the GLS. I mean, I'm looking forward to driving that. We should have a story for you in the weeks to come, and I think it'll be absolutely amazing. And we're going to do something very special with the GLS as well. Let's try and do that. Right.
All right, but we did have a comment from Ashish Agarwal saying that Mercedes is losing its boldness in terms of looks. Do you agree?
Well, I would say yes and no. While they are growing larger, the footprint is growing bigger. They're also going a little more subtle on the design and not very outlandish. I, for one, appreciate the fact that like the rest of the world, is going down this big, massive, huge grills that are straight in your face. Especially, it's German drivers also for that matter. Mercedes is still kind of kept it a little subtle. It's not too in your face. It still maintained that sense of refined luxury that it has. Is it pleasing to look at? Not all of them are, but there definitely are cars that look nice in their range of cars that they have to offer. The SUVs, the JLS was never a great looker, and the new one also isn't something that claims to be a fantastic, good-looking SUV. It definitely claims to be an SUV that can do a lot more in that sense, can offer a lot more luxury. And for me, I mean, yes, once I get into that car, once I sit down, that enormous panel that sits in front of the driver, the LCD, the LED panel that sits, the screen panel that sits there. I mean, it's just fantastic. And then to have MBUX offered on that, the kind of practicality that cabin has, it's a tremendous. It's another one of those cars that's very hard to beat.
All right, the EQC is also coming up, right, in a couple of weeks. So, what do you have to say about that? Mercedes has not really, seemingly not been affected by this lockdown, right?
Well, everybody is affected by the lockdown, but Martin Schwenk, let it slip that they're looking at launching the EQC in about 2 weeks. I guess that is the plan. They will be coming out the EQC very, very shortly. From what I also hear is that they were hoping to do a drive with the EQC where they could call all the journalists. But unfortunately, I don't know if that will happen or not. I mean, it would be fantastic to meet the rest of the fraternity as well. But I mean, I don't see it happening any longer. The numbers are still, the virus hasn't gone anywhere too far. And I can see Rohit nodding his head, saying, "Man, those were the days."
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm completely missing
Yeah, but
that life now. I mean, I'm already calling it my past life, unfortunately. So that is how things are. But so you're right. I mean, Mercedes-Benz for the last couple of years have been on that product offensive, launching almost a new car every month. And even this year, they had a target of launching 10 cars. And the interview that we did with Martin Schwenk a little while back, he confirmed that a few plans may have been delayed, pushed back by a little bit, but they are still on course and they'll still try their level best to launch 10 cars this year. In fact, the GLS has already been the third launch for Mercedes-Benz in the lockdown period. Before we went into lockdown, they had the GLC Coupe, we had the GLE at the start of the year, which Bert is driving now. So yeah, I mean, 5 cars are already done if you were to look at it, and 5 more are yet to come. There are a few AMGs in that as well as what we are told. EQC is one of those, and I think the EQC is the next one. And the two big cars for Mercedes-Benz in India would be the A-Class and the GLA, which will also happen this year itself.
There is one mention, I think I must mention this, that Mercedes has done a very good job at their digital launches, won't you say? It's actually interesting to watch how manufacturers are adapting to this new norm, and the walk around that Mr. Santosh Iyer did during the live session was really interesting to watch. He can almost take up our roles, right, as journalists now.
No, that's absolutely right.
Well,
I
let's
mean,
let's not go there.
especially for Santosh, I think dodging questions from journalists like us, what's next? When is this coming? When is that coming? That was a hard job itself. And now their team is also getting him to do walkarounds, which is what we were doing so far. But I think, I mean, hats off to them. Full marks to them for being able to explore, new ways and new avenues of carrying on with life and all the functions that are a part of a launch and the whole program. So. It's a new thing for every manufacturer. Digital launches is something that we have seen in the past, but not something like this, right? So it's a new thing that every manufacturer is exploring, and even from where we are sitting, it's interesting to see how manufacturers are able to do different things and still give us a look of the product, if not the feel, at least a look of the product, a close look of what all to expect and all of that. And now the next step is actually getting us to drive those cars. In fact, we are all set to be driving the new Honda City next week. So that's going to be a new experience for me. I'm going to try and document that as well, how this new world order is for us. So that's another interesting bit to look forward to.
All right, moving on, there's some very big news which is coming from Chinese manufacturer Great Wall Motors. They've signed a memorandum of understanding with Maharashtra government pledging a $1 billion investment in India. GWM will be setting up a manufacturing plant in Talegaon and a research development center in Bengaluru, which in turn will lead to employment generation of close to 3,000 people in different phases. Now, we did see the GWM's stall at Auto Expo. In fact, these visuals that we're playing is from the Auto Expo earlier this year. Interesting products were on display. But it's also interesting the timing, because just last week, as we shared with you, Shangun, another Chinese manufacturer, decided to delay their debut into India, right, Rohit, Bert?
Yes, there are going to be, of course, a lot. Some of the delays are, of course, going to be coming into effect simply because of the way COVID has affected our lives, and so those delays are inevitable. In some cases, manufacturers still trying to go ahead and push through their plans the way they were. And let's not disillusion ourselves at this point in time. While there is definitely some stress points about what's happening on the border areas and the whole nationalistic feeling that's there at this point in time in this environment. I think in a few months from now, or at least a few months from now, it will come back to business as normal. Let's not forget the fact that both countries rely on each other for trade, and just as much as we buy from China, we also sell a fair amount to them, and lots of livelihoods are dependent on either country for that matter. on the trade that exists between these two countries. So some of these delays, they're going to be inevitable, but that's also because of whatever has happened due to the virus, and setting all those plans on putting them on the ground is going to take some time. We don't have travel happening between countries right now, so for officials to come down from there to set things, to set processes in place, put systems in place, all of that has been affected, and so you're going to see those delays. In the case of GWM, probably a lot of things are already on the ground over here, and there may be a few officials also who are already present in India and handling things. But I'm not sure in the case of Shanghai if that is the case. They will definitely have delays.
Okay. There was also plenty of talk earlier this week about looking beyond China to manufacture auto components. And in fact, CNBC TV18 caught up with Maruti Suzuki's RC Bhargava as well as Bajaj Auto's Rajiv Bajaj just to figure out the pulse of the matter. Here, just have a listen.
Maruti as a company does not need to import from China at all, but our vendors do. Now, it's not easy for these vendors to find alternative sources or to develop alternative sources. It takes a lot of time. What is more important is it will take a lot of cost penalty on the side of the vendors, which ultimately means a cost penalty to the consumer. And I think we need to look a little further into this. That firstly, I'm not aware of all the niceties on the political front as to what kind of pressure stopping Chinese imports will do in trying to settle the border problem. One reads in the press that these problems are getting sorted out, but that apart, I don't want to go into that. The real question I have is that nobody seems to be asking, why do we need to keep importing not only from China, but from other countries in such large quantities over such a long period of time? Why has Indian industry not become capable of manufacturing all these components in India, manufacturing it at competitive prices? I think that's the question to ask. In India, affordability is a huge issue. And if by importing tariffs, you're only raising the cost of the cars, sales will come down, industrial growth will come down, employment will come down. So I don't see that raising tariffs and increasing prices of the products which use the Chinese imports is actually going to benefit the Indian citizen at all.
Bajaj last year imported directly about 600 crores worth of components from China. It makes up between 3 and 4% of our material cost. Maybe an equal amount comes through our suppliers, our tier 1 suppliers, who in turn purchase from China. So, the overall import bill from China for someone like us could well be about 1,000 crores of rupees. Now, these are components that we've been sourcing from there for a long time. The number one import is that of alloy wheels that go into the motorcycle. And this is not just for Bajaj, this is pretty much for the entire industry. And then there are transmission parts, and then there are other parts. So what I mean by continuity is this: we have friends who are our suppliers in China who have invested a lot of time, effort, and money in supplying us not a vicious virus, but some wonderful wheels, very, very reliably for years, maybe for the last 15 years, if not longer. How do we suddenly let them down, even if we could? Is that ethical? Is that what we would like to stand for, whether as a company or a country? We have to ask ourselves. The third C to my mind is that of competitiveness. The reason we source these components from China is quite simply because China is more competitive. Now, by that, I do not mean that our Indian suppliers are dumb. They are not. In fact, we are handicapped by what I like to refer to as the 5 L's over here: the issues of land, labor, logistics, legislation, and electricity, so to speak. So it is because of these unease of doing business, if we may call it that, for components like this, which in our language are called non-proprietary components, components, we find that the Chinese source is more competitive. And that is why we import from China. So it might look like we are importing 1,000 crores worth of stuff from China. But let's not forget that Bajaj is a company that exports motorcycles and three-wheelers worth about 15,000 crores every year. Last year, that is what our exports were. Yeah. So this import makes us competitive.
All right, so those were some very valid points being spoken about. In fact, Mr. R.C. Bhargava said that we should not get very sensitive at this time and, make some rash decisions because we don't really have the market to produce, manufacture these auto components, right? And even Mr. Bajaj, we'll take one point at a time.
Yeah, absolutely. I think with R.C. Bhargava also mentioned, this is a very valid point. This is not something that you cannot build industry overnight. Rome wasn't built in a day. It takes time. Brick by brick, mortar, laying mortar. You're gonna build this over time. So yes, you can start off, right now. I think it's folly to get into this whole sentiment where you say ban Chinese products overnight and don't let's not let's cut and sever all ties off with everything Chinese for that matter. That is a little immature at this point in time. You do not have the self-sufficiency to deliver what is required from Indian consumers. So if you do not have that at this point in time, let's start building towards that. And of course, raise this point. Yes, why do we need to import from China or from anywhere else in the world? We should have the self-sufficiency within us. Again, this holds true to a particular point. Not everything can be made over here as well. Businesses would not entirely, cannot operate in that manner. But for the larger part, we can definitely look at India becoming a large manufacturing hub, a large R&D hub, a large technology hub that we are in any case at this point in time. Self-dependency, yes, I think we're there. We're walking that path already. Is there a destination to this? I don't know, but it's definitely a long journey and it will continue for a very long time. The thing is, it's not going to happen immediately. Get rushing into this at this point in time and, creating the kind of fervor that is there at this point in time. The environment that is there, it isn't conducive at all. There are other larger challenges, the challenges of human life, survival, incomes at this point in time that we need to worry about. And, the issue within the trade issues and everything else that we've got with our neighbors for that matter. I think that can be put on pause at this moment. Let's make sure our borders are protected. Let's make sure our people who reside within these borders are protected, and let's make sure they've got livelihoods at this point in time.
Right, and interesting because you, as he mentioned, that India is also a price-sensitive market, and doing away with Chinese vendors and stuff, it would Chinese auto components manufacturers, it would just lead to the products becoming more expensive, and I don't think at such a time we are ready to take on such a challenge, right?
We are not immediately, of course. Like I said, it's not something that can be done immediately. We can become a price-conscious, manufacturer as well, and provider to the rest of the world also, for that matter. We can export from this country overseas as well. The kind of the quality that we get from China today, at the prices we get them as well. But it's going to take time. This is not going to happen. It's going to take a decade, probably more. China hasn't been doing this now. They didn't start last year or last week, or yesterday. They've been going about this for several decades now. And that's how they got to where they are at this point in time. So this is a process, and all processes take time.
All right. So we'll just move on from the discussion about Chinese. Is there anything else that you would want to add, Rohit?
No, I think Bert has pretty much summed it up, and so have the other two speakers that we just had. So I think it's more of an opportunity with the Prime Minister talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat and Make in India for a long time now. And with situations like these, where certain manufacturers will also be forced to think of sourcing locally. So this is an opportunity if you were to look at it. And that is something that the Indian ancillary industry should at least jump onto and start exploring, because Volkswagen has set up plant here. There are a lot of suppliers to Volkswagen who have managed to achieve the quality levels that the German engineering expected. And we have managed to satisfy them for Volkswagen, Skoda, and all of its allied brands, whatever is being localized. Same goes with MG, same goes with a lot of other manufacturers like Nissan and Renault. So it's not to say that there is no technology or there is no capability with the Indian ancillary manufacturer. It's there, just that they need to up it even further. also bring in the cost advantage, which is something that China is providing not just to us but to other brands across the world. And only then can you really take a stand and say, okay, I don't need to import anything more. I can do everything in house. And it's not about being sensitive, or it's not about deciding this on the basis of what's happening at the border. It's like what Mr. Bhargava said. If you are able to localize everything here, if you are able to manufacture everything here, the pricing that we are always crying about for automobiles, that can actually come down by a fair margin. Just the way he said that it would be the end user who would ideally be penalized if imports stop or if imports become expensive. The same way, if local manufacturing is boosted up further, if localization happens further, then all that cost benefit can also be passed on to the end user, and that is something that we can all look at. It's an opportunity if you look at it that way.
All right. Moving on from talking about the Chinese manufacturers and products, let's talk about the Korean manufacturer. Now, Hyundai has some good news coming in. In fact, let me just play the visual. So Hyundai Creta has recorded 30,000 bookings for the Creta. In fact, it has been the highest selling car in the month of May. Sales numbers show that the diesel Creta has accounted for 55% of the sales. While we're on the subject of Creta, let me just remind our viewers that the Seltos versus the all-new Creta will be on the show tomorrow at 1 p.m. on CNBC TV 18. So just don't forget about that. Now moving on, Honda has opened bookings for the new Civic for a token amount of 25,000 rupees. The diesel version of the Civic is all set to be launched in next month, by next month, and we can expect a price hike of 70 to 80,000 rupees for the 2020 model. The company will gradually launch the Honda Jazz and the WRV as well. Pre-launch bookings for the WRV is already open. Now, up next, we have some very exciting news coming in from Honda as well. The 5th generation Honda City has been unveiled and will be launched in July. It is India's first connected car with Alexa remote capability and comes in with many segment-first features. It will rival the likes of the Hyundai Verna, the Maruti Suzuki Ciaz, and the Skoda Rapid in India. Rohit, you were just talking about the Honda City, that you're excited that you're going to be driving this.
Yes. In fact, we are going to be driving it on Monday or Tuesday, depending on how the weather pans out in Maharashtra. It's been raining cats and dogs in Mumbai. But sometime next week is when we are going to drive the car. 30th of this month is when the review will be out. So do stay tuned. There is a lot of new technology that has come to the car. And then Honda has already gone on record calling it the widest and the longest car in the segment with the roomiest cabin. So that's something that we'll obviously put to test. And we'll also test all the new features that this car is going to bring along with it. There are two engine options as before. There's a petrol. It's a new motor. It's a double overhead cam now. The diesel motor is retained from the previous model, but is now BS6 compliant. They've gotten a DPF to make it BS6 compliant, and hopefully we'll be driving both these variants. So I'll be able to tell you how much of an advancement the new petrol motor is. Does it feel any different? Because at least the power and torque figures are almost in the same zone as the outgoing car. The diesel, again, the same output, but like I said, is BS6 compliant. And if we get to drive that as well, the review will certainly have info on how it feels. And more importantly, we'll talk about the space and the features that are on offer. So 30th of June is when the review will be out.
Okay, looks like our viewers are getting a little anxious that we are not answering their questions, and a lot of questions are piling up. So let's just take a couple of questions. Now,
Right.
Ravindra Reddy says that he's looking for a fun-to-drive hatchback. Does the new Polo TSI, is it worth over the older TDI, or should he consider the i20, which is yet to launch, or the Ford Freestyle?
Okay, I'll take that question, but since I drove the car this week, even I went on record in that review and said I would buy it in a heartbeat over a Baleno RS or a Ford Figo. That's how exciting it is to drive. I've always been a fan of the
Not the
driving
i20 as
dynamics. We haven't driven the new i20,
but
of
not
course.
the i20.
Yes, we have not
Exactly.
driven the new i20. It has borrowed a lot of learnings of Hyundai from its rally operation. So the i20 is certainly something that we are looking forward to driving, and Hyundai cars have actually been getting good at driving dynamics. We drove the Verna 1.0 turbo as well, and that's something that we're going to talk about on Monday. The review will be out, so do stay tuned. But yeah, coming back to your question, i20 I haven't driven, but with the current crop that is available in the market, the Polo 1.0 is certainly something that you can think about buying. In fact, we said that buying it now and owning it for the next 5 to 7 years may not be a bad idea at all. It's that good a motor. And in
All
fact, it's
right.
the quickest hatchback that we've tested. I'm not talking about the Mini Coopers and those, but I'm talking about the more mass market hatchbacks. And out of those, this is the quickest that we've tested. 0 to 100 consistently, 9.4 seconds, without any top steer, without any handling issues. So I like this car.
All right. And Raval is saying that he's recently looking at the used car market for the Honda Civic 1.8 automatic. Do you think it's a good first car to buy under a budget of 5 lakh rupees?
Yes, it's a good car to buy, but the problem with the Honda Civic, and you need to be very careful about this, is to check suspension on the car because that's one of the weak points for this car. It will have issues if you're driving in the city where you will scrape the underbody if the suspension is not strong enough and it has deteriorated. So carrying a full load is going to be an issue with this car. Nonetheless, it's definitely a fantastic car to drive. Even the 2010 cars were good cars. For that matter, 1.8 automatic also is good. Is a reasonably good car to drive. I mean, the best ones, of course, are the manuals. But nonetheless, if you can get it under 5 lakh rupees, I think it's not a bad deal at all.
But
Okay,
I'm just going to
uplift.
add a little bit to that
Yeah.
because a few of our colleagues, including Halley, we are looking for these used Civics. It's an excellent buy. But one of the biggest challenges right now in India for the Civic is most of these 1.8 automatics have been converted to CNG, and it may
Yeah.
not be a great conversion. It may not be something that has been done by the authorized dealership. So that's something that you need to look at. Preferably buy a car that is still a 1.8 petrol and not a CNG converted model. And like Bert said, suspension is something that you need to get checked. The steering rack is another thing that is known to go bust on the Civic. So definitely check that as well. Spare parts availability shouldn't be a problem, though the model has been discontinued. Plenty of Civics have been sold in the market, and spare parts from non-Honda manufacturers or non-Honda suppliers are also out in the market already. So spare parts shouldn't be a problem.
All right. Akash Rughani writes in saying that he's an AMU user and he's driven a diesel Polo as well in the past, and he's still looking for a diesel engine, preferably with Volkswagen.
Well, I'm not
Well, I
sure how
think
Volkswagen
as
is
of
going to
now,
address.
yeah, Bert, take this.
Yeah, yeah. I don't see how Volkswagen is going to address the diesel issue because that is something that's not certainly being pushed very hard at that. If you're looking for diesels, there are definitely other manufacturers to look at this point in time. So we'll have a strong diesel portfolio, and one of those, of course, is going to be the i20. There's also the Verna, which will have all that, and there are other cars also that will have better diesel engines at this point in time. Volkswagen is just definitely not pushing this agenda anytime soon.
All right. I really like one question. It comes in from Shivam Agarwal. He wants to know, should he buy a Brezza or should he wait for the Kia Sonet?
I'd say wait for the Kia Sonet. Definitely wait for the Kia Sonet. Between the Brezza and the Venue, the Venue is just that little bit better than the Brezza, and so as well. I mean, the Sonet is exactly the same platform. It's just that Kia will have infused a lot of their design and styling into that SUV. What we saw as a concept at the Auto Expo earlier this year. I mean, that's just a small sampler of what to expect. We still haven't seen the interiors, but this is going to be an astonishing car. It's going to be an astounding car, and I think there's a lot of potential with that product. So wait for a little while. It's not too far away. A few months down the line is when the Sonic is going to be out in the market. So hold on to your horses.
All right.
August to be
Ruben?
precise, that's when the Kia comes out, when the Kia Sonet comes out.
All right.
Yeah.
Ruben seems to have an issue. He's saying that he's come across Hyundai cars being plagued with quality issues like freewheeling, steering wheel, peeling paint, and brake failure, especially in the Creta and the Grand i10. How serious are these, and has the company been able to proactively address these issues? But
Ruben,
you drive a Hyundai, right? So you
I've got a long termer. I own a i20 Active and I'm driving the Venue as well as a long termer. And I haven't had any reliability issues in either car. I've had more traffic issues with people running into my car from all sides. Uh, but the car itself has been problem free, has had no issues whatsoever. I think that this Hyundai quality has improved dramatically. But having said that, yes, it isn't prone to having failures as well. And even now, there are sometimes reliability and quality issues with various elements. In the past, there were a lot more mechanical issues with the braking systems, with the steering systems. But of late, a lot of those have been taken out, and it is much more reliable. But certain electronic issues, sometimes I have noticed a couple of them in my long-term menu, definitely crop up from time to time.
All
Now,
right.
how serious are these? How serious? I'm not. Again, not a lot of issues that have come to light. To be honest, in the newest generation of Hyundai cars. But yeah, Hyundai has been reasonably proactive in addressing these and correcting all of these issues.
All right. And we'll just take a final question for now. Kartik wants to know, what do you guys think of the new Rapid TSI?
Okay, I'll take that question.
Go ahead.
Again, drove that car this week. Stay tuned for a review. It's coming up next week, very soon on the Overdrive show as well as the YouTube channel. It's the same engine as the Polo TSI. I really like the engine, but what I really like about the Rapid is they've managed to get even better sound insulation as compared to what Volkswagen has managed with the Polo. So it feels a little more refined in there. Not that the engine is any more refined than what it is in the Polo, but it just feels slightly better in the Rapids cabin because the sound insulation is better. Some of the materials used feel better than what you get in the Polo. But the infotainment system is not something that we've liked. It's not the same as what the Polo uses, and I fail to see why they should have gone ahead with the same system that Volkswagen uses. This is more like an Android tablet that is stashed into the dashboard, and the connections are a little iffy with your smartphone. Some of the menus feel laggy and all of that. So I'm not a big fan of the infotainment system at least, but it's the same engine that we have in the Rapid, and I'll just let out the figures. The 0 to 100 for the Rapid came out at 9.8 seconds, so that's less than half a second slower than the Polo, which is exciting news, and it handles a little bit better than the Polo as well with the boot and everything and the extended wheelbase. It's got better stability in the corners. It feels a little more enjoyable to drive, and then you have that beautiful price tag that comes with the Rapid TSI. Now, if you were to settle for the rider variant and then upgrade the infotainment system to something that's from the aftermarket, that I think would be the perfect choice to go with the Rapid because you will save a lot of bucks going in with the base variant of the Rapid, and you still get the basic safety kit, you still get the same engine. So I think that's a phenomenal buy. For the price that it comes at, it actually becomes a more value for money offering and an enthusiastic offering than some of the hatchbacks and compact sedans out there. So yes, the Rapid TSI is certainly something that I would recommend right now.
All right, we'll come back to a couple of questions in just a couple of minutes. We'll run through a few more of our news sections. Now, MG has just begun production of its three-row version of the Hector Plus. It gets a second row of captain seats, at least as an option. The Hector Plus is being manufactured at MG Motor India's Haloi plant. The Plus should demand a premium of up to 1.5 lakh rupees over the standard Hector, which is now at 12.74 lakh rupees for the base petrol manual variant. Now, there is some news that is concerning. For the past 13 days, consecutively, petrol and diesel prices have been hiked daily. Now, the petrol price as of yesterday had been hiked to about 6.55 rupees per litre and diesel by 7 rupees per litre. Just to put things into perspective, just in Mumbai, the petrol rate was 78 rupees on the 1st of this month. And as of yesterday, it was 84 rupees per litre. And today it has hiked again by 56 paise per litre for petrol and 74 and by 63 paise per litre for the diesel. Now, should this be a cause of concern, Bert, or is it something that was expected?
Well, this is definitely not something that was expected. Is it a cause for concern? Not at this point in time, because again, there aren't technically there shouldn't be a lot of people out on the roads driving, so it shouldn't really matter to them as to what the cost of fuel is. But in the long run, yes, once things normalize, this is going to be a concern considering things have gotten a little worse off for most people, and they're going to be looking. A lot of people are going to be looking at personal mobility solutions. So people are going to go out and buy some cars for sure, some two-wheelers also for that matter, and this is going to just add to the burden. So it's not the smartest of moves, but it may definitely be a necessary move at this point.
All right, Rohit, is there something that you would like to add about this?
No, I just hope that fuel prices go down the moment we start driving cars and bikes again. That's all that I wish for. Fingers crossed.
Which you have
Well,
technically, intermittently.
well, if whether the fuel prices go down, I'm sure the manufacturer will raise the price of cars. So either way, I mean, I don't think we've got there is an easy way out for us people who like to drive, especially.
True.
All right. So moving on, Rohit, I'll let you take over the two-wheeler news from this week.
Right. So just let me just pull up the two-wheeler news. Right. So we have, what do we begin with? We have the Pulsar 125 with a split seat that has been launched. So if you've been waiting for a Pulsar to have a split seat and not a single seat, there you have it. It's now out in the market. I don't know if someone was really waiting for that kind of a seat configuration, but I think the colors definitely look nice with the red Pulsar logo and all of that. It's priced at 79,091 ex-showroom. The bigger news from the Bajaj stable, however, is that KTM is now working on a 500cc parallel twin configuration for its motorcycles. What you see on the screen is just a representative image. It's not the actual motorcycle. This is the 890 Duke, I believe. But it's based on a similar configuration or similar platform. It's a scaled down version of this engine. It's likely to be called the KTM 490 series of motorcycles. And we expect to see all kinds of body styles on this. There'll be a street naked, there'll be the adventure, there'll be the RC for the track, and there could be a touring version as well, which is not exactly like the adventure, maybe slightly different in terms of the equipment that it offers. So those are the four body styles that are expected of this. Now remember, Bajaj is also working with Triumph on these low cost, low capacity motorcycles. So the KTM 490 will again be in that similar bracket. It will be the natural rival to what comes out of the Bajaj Triumph partnership as well. But pricing is something that we can hopefully be something to be excited about. Now, the current range of 390s are priced anywhere between 3 to 4 lakh rupees ex showroom. The 490s, I believe, will not be very pricey, will not charge a very big premium over these. Between 4 to 6 lakh rupees is what my estimate is, depending on the body style. So that way, KTM will be able to undercut Kawasaki, for sure, the Kawasaki 650s, and also the upcoming Honda platform. Why I'm mentioning the Honda platform is because Honda India is now actively looking at a similar 500cc parallel twin setup. That is a platform that they're working on. It already exists in the global markets, but it's the next generation of the 500cc parallel twins. And there is word that Honda India will manufacture this platform in India, and it will be exported to the rest of the Asian countries and hopefully some of the European countries as well. Honda is also looking at different body styles on this. What will be exclusive to Honda and not something that KTM will have is a cruiser body style. A Rebel 500 is what we are expecting, which will go up against the Royal Enfields. But there'll again be an adventure, a street naked, and a Fed super sport or a sport tourer that Honda will build on that 500 platform. So that 500cc parallel twin space is going to see quite a bit of action in the next couple of years with Honda and KTM taking the lead. And the third big news from the two-wheeler world is the Tiger 900 pricing has been announced. Well, Sohini is saying something.
Sorry, just a second. Just before we move on, let's just take a couple of queries regarding this motorcycle or KTM. There was a question coming in from Ravindra Reddy again. What is a goodbye between the KTM 390 Duke or the CBR 300R? Any news about the Husqvarna 400 as well?
Well, Husqvarna's, the 250s are already out in the market. And now, depending on how successful they are in the Indian market, how many takers they find, Husqvarna India or KTM India, Bajaj India, they might think about bringing in the 400 or the 390 engine, the Husqvarna's out into the market as well. So as of now, there is no word about it. Like I said, it will all depend on whether the 250s are successful or not. And between the KTM and the Honda, Well, if you want a refined engine, if you want a sport tourer in the full-fledged setup, then the Honda is the one that you want to go with. If you would be happier with a sharper handling motorcycle, something that has a racy engine and a naked bodywork, the 390 Duke is what you would want to go with. If I personally had to choose, I would go with the 390. I would any day love the reliability and the smooth architecture from Honda, but the KTM's riding dynamics and the kind of performance that the engine packs, that's something that always puts a smile on my face. So that is what I would personally go with. The 390 Duke is would be my choice.
All right, moving on to the next news. Yeah, Rohit, I guess the next news that you have is something that will put a smile on Bert and your face.
I'm not completely sure about that. Well, the Tiger 900 pricing has been announced today, and honestly, the first thing that I want to say is the pricing is slightly on the higher side than what I expected. I was expecting the Rally Pro to top out at 18 lakh rupees, but it's going to be about 18.8 to 18.9 lakh rupees on road, depending on the city that you're buying it in. But yes, the Tiger 900 is finally here. If you've been waiting for the new Tiger 900 like I was, all three variants have been launched today. So earlier this month, or rather late last month, is when we had revealed that the Rally Pro will be the first model to be launched in India, followed by the GT and the Rally. But there were some delays with the imports for Triumph India, and which is why Triumph has now decided that they would launch all three variants together. And that is what has happened today. They have announced the pricing for all the three variants. So the GT is the base, and it goes up to the Rally, and then the Rally Pro, which is the top end spec. So quickly to put things into perspective for you, the GT is what the previous Tiger 800 XRX was. The Tiger 900 Rally is what the previous Tiger 900 XCX was. Sorry, the Tiger 800 XCX was. And the Tiger 900 Rally Pro is what the previous Tiger 800 XCA was. And if you were to compare the prices of these outgoing models versus the new one, there's about 30 to 35,000 rupee difference on the ex-showroom pricing. But with the new insurance norms and all of that, the pricing now is a little on the higher side. So I'm just going to quickly pull up the on-road figures. I have the on-road figures for it. So the Tiger 900 GT would be somewhere between 16.6 to 16.8 lakh rupees on road, and you would have to pay a premium of 15,000 rupees if you want any other color but white. Similarly, for the Rally, it will go anywhere between 17.35 lakh to 17.5 lakh rupees on road. And again, you'll have to add a 15,000 rupee premium if you want any of the other colors but white. The Rally Pro only comes in the green color is what I believe. It is priced at 18.75 lakh rupees. That is on road Mumbai and Pune. That's the zone on road Mumbai and Pune, but give or take 10 to 15,000 rupees depending on the city that you're buying it in. The Rally Pro is the top of the line. Now, if you want to know the difference between the Rally and the Rally Pro, well, the Rally Pro gets you the bi-directional quick shifter, you get the tire pressure monitoring system, you get heated seats, not something that many of you might want in India, but if you're traveling to the Himalayas, it could be a good addition. Bert will agree with it because his XCA comes with that. But the biggest difference for the Rally Pro is, of course, the 6 riding modes. You get 2 additional riding modes over Rally, which is a user configurable mode and the off-road pro mode, which essentially lets you get into that pro zone with no ABS, no traction control, but purely your riding skills. So that is what the Tiger 900 is all about. Like I said, pricing is slightly on the higher side, but if you're to compare it with the outgoing model, it's between 30 to 35,000 rupees more between the corresponding Tiger 800 variant and the Tiger 900.
And if you
So
were to
Rohit's not
compare
happy
it,
about Rohit's definitely not happy about this pricing story. Let me tell you this because there was a dream that if the price was a little more affordable, he could have had this argument with his wife about buying it, but she isn't allowing him this in any under any condition right now. So that
She
I
isn't, and
have
dream's gone
unfortunately,
out the
she is
window.
also tuned into this show, and she's just heard everything that we have said, and I'm sure now I will not be able to convince her about the Tiger 900 anytime
And,
soon.
and and neither am I, because I'm quite happy with my motorcycle and the level of riding that I'm doing with it and the capabilities that I have on that motorcycle, and I'm enjoying it for whatever it is. And I don't really see the need to change that and go on to something else for that matter. I'm anyways not the weekend rider. I'd rather do a larger, nicer ride for that matter. Uh, and the Tiger, fits that bill. So if I had to buy a motorcycle after this, it definitely be something from that's from a completely different breed of motorcycle for that matter. Not an adventure rider, not an adventure motorcycle at that point for that matter. I'm certainly looking at some other motorcycles in other categories. But let's see. Now is not the time to do this in any case. So just save it up for a rainy day, and when it rains, it pours.
Actually, when you were talking about this, Rohit, I have been following your Instagram posts, and you did put up a post where Kasturi was saying absolutely no to anything. She was not ready to listen to any of your arguments as well, right? But
No, but that's true.
if
And unfortunately, that's the case with a lot of riders right now. I mean, I spoke to quite a few people, and everyone seemed to be a little disappointed with the pricing. They were hoping that Triumph pulls out a surprise like BMW did with the F900 series, which is again a competitor to the GT line of the Tiger 900. Everyone was really hoping that they bring out some better pricing for the Tiger 900, given how much interest there is for this motorcycle in the Indian market, and it's still come out at a slightly higher price point. But I'm very sure that there would still be a lot of takers. This pricing is something that people will digest going forward, and there'll still be a lot of takers, is what I believe. Because if you were to look at it, there is the kind of competition that the Tiger 900 right now has in the country. You have the BMW F900 series, you have the F750 and 850 as well, and then you have the V-Strom from Suzuki, and you also have a few sport tourers like the Kawasaki Versys 1000 and Ninja 1000, all of that. And if you were to compare all of these, the Tiger still has a lot of strengths going for it. The only serious competition will come in the form of the Africa Twin, which is priced extremely close, which is slightly higher on power, slightly higher on displacement, and it gets you all the latest gizmos. So now that is going to be the final battle. Which is it going to be for many riders? Is it going to be the Tiger 900 Rally, or is it going to be the Africa Twin? I think that's going to be the only consideration despite this high price tag.
all right, in fact, I was going to ask you about the competition as well, but you've covered that. And Lavanya also, one of our viewers was asking about the Africa Twin itself. I think you've covered that as well.
Yes,
Yeah,
so
if
Lavanya,
I
we
had to
haven't
actually,
we haven't
had to,
ridden the Africa Twin, the new one yet. So we will have a comparative review out as soon as we have access to both these motorcycles. But on paper, the Africa Twin is again an excellent buy. And if you guys saw the big ADV shootout that we did and posted on YouTube a couple of weeks ago, the Africa Twin and the Tiger really shone in that entire bunch of adventure tourers and adventure motorcycles that we had out there. And both these bikes, the Tiger 900 and the Africa Twin 1100, build on all the strong points of their predecessors, and they take it forward. And now they're neck to neck on the pricing as well. And now you also have the option of the manual transmission. In fact, if pricing was set aside, I would personally go with the Tiger 900 Rally Pro, and Bert would immediately pick up the Africa Twin because he loved that motorcycle, and the only thing that he was waiting for with that bike was a manual transmission,
if
and
I
that is
had to
now
give up,
available in the country.
if I had to give up the Tiger XE, I mean, yes, that's the only other bike I'd do that for would be the Africa Twin at this point in time.
Right.
That
So
goes without
it could go either way, but yeah, I mean, definitely do wait till we are able to ride these two motorcycles and put out a comparative review. I hope the manufacturers make these bikes available to us very soon, and we'll be able to get you a story out on that.
So
Now, Sohini,
Chirag
before
on
you take
the
any questions, I'm going to quickly answer one question from one Mr. DIY Freaky Surya, who's been allegedly asking us this question on every show, and we have not been taking this question. So this is about the 310, the BMW 310R and the 310 GS. What new features are going to come on that bike? Well, it's going to get a BS6 engine. It's going to get a TFT dash. And it's going to get all LED lighting. These are the only new features that are coming to that motorcycle, and it will be out very soon. The pricing will be out very soon. I believe the dealers have already started taking bookings for the BS6 310s. So if you're interested in any of these bikes, do check with your dealer on the availability and when these are going to be out. But they were already spy testing outside of India, and these are the only features that we know of so far.
all right, and Chirag would like to know that will Suzuki launch any new big bikes this year with the BS6 motor, and when will the CBR 650R BS6 motor be launched?
Right. So as far as Suzuki is concerned, the big bikes, the only one that they've confirmed so far is the launch of the V-Strom 650 BS6. They have been very tight-lipped about the Hayabusa, so we don't know if that engine will make it into the BS6 era or not. It's certainly not compliant with the Euro 5 norms, so we don't know if BS6 compliance is happening with that motor or not. In fact, they've sold out whatever Hayabusas they had with the BS4, and they did that way before the March 31st deadline. So as far as the big bikes from Suzuki are concerned, the 650 V-Strom is the only one confirmed so far. But we also hear that the new V-Strom 1050 that was revealed at EICMA last year is being considered for India. Let me remind you, the model didn't do too well in the Indian market, but now with the new age advancements and the new technologies and everything, they feel that the 1050 could have a better chance this time around. So that is something that they're definitely considering. But right now, the focus is on their 250cc lineup. We already have the Gixxer and the Gixxer SF. There is a new Intruder 250 also in the pipeline. So that is something that they're concentrating on right now. And with the COVID, maybe the big bike plans could be deferred a bit, but everything from the international range could slowly start coming to India. The Katana is another bike that they're exploring. They showed it at the Auto Expo. It was purely there to gauge customer feedback. I would buy that bike in a heartbeat. I love the previous Katana, and the new one with the GSX S1000 motor is something that is definitely going to be one hoot to ride. So that's another motorcycle that we can all look forward to. But likely
But
2021 is when it would come out.
all right, but the next one is for you. Raghav Dugal wants to know that can he take his MG Hector to Manali or Ladakh without any problems?
Absolutely, you'll face no issues taking the Hector down to Manali, Ladakh for that matter, or almost anywhere where you don't need 4x4 for that matter. Of course, it doesn't come with a 4-wheel drive powertrain, so you really can't push it beyond a limit. But otherwise, it's got good ride quality, it's got the required ground clearance, and you'll be able to do a journey up into the hills at any point in time.
But I do have a concern regarding this. It's an internet inside car in Ladakh. How do we cope with
Well,
that?
you aren't going to asking you to drive itself down to the monasteries or to Hanli or Pangyong, so you're definitely not going to head towards Pangyong at this point in time. But so yeah, it doesn't matter whether the internet inside is working or not, as long as you've got a geo card inside, it'll work
All right.
anywhere.
Keshav
And
wants
let's
to
not forget,
know.
Sohini, the connectivity in Ladakh is pretty amazing right now as well. Connectivity has really improved considerably. Ladakh is well connected to the rest of the country. There are fiber optic cables already laid out, and broadband connectivity has improved considerably as well. In fact, I've been speaking to several friends who are placed all over Ladakh, not just in Leh, and I've been video chatting with them very comfortably, and high definition video as clear as you'd get it in urban areas today.
Actually, I would take that concern back because I don't know why you would want to go to Ladakh and get connected to anyone around that time, right? You would want some peace and quiet anyway. So
Absolutely.
we'll just take another question. I think we already took this one. Did we already speak about the CBR 300? Yes, we did. Right. Just quickly sift through this. Oh. Hemant wants to know should he buy the Panigale V4 or the V4S?
Well, if I were you, I would buy the S because of all the electronic gizmos that it gets over the V4. But if you were to think practically, if you're not going to be taking it to the racetrack, if it's just weekend rides that you're looking at, then both these bikes are going to be overpowered for you. So a V4 or a V4S is perfectly all right. If you're going to take it to the racetrack and if you're going to exploit the ability of the V4S, because even the V4 was quite a handful for me. But if you're going to be able to exploit the ability of the V4S, then yeah, why not stretch and get the V4S?
All right. And Girish wants to know, are there any new electric vehicles that we should be looking forward to?
As far as
Well,
electric
actually,
vehicles go,
not.
well, there were two scooters that are in the news right now. There's the Ampere electric scooter that was launched earlier this week, and then there is another one that is coming out next week. I don't know how to pronounce the name without it sounding wrong, but I think it goes something like Big Ass or Bigos or something. I don't know. That is what it is. That's going to be my first question. I'm definitely going to tune into the live webcast to see how they pronounce the name of that scooter.
Well, from what
But
I hear, Rohit, this has got something to do with Super Soco and some of their products as well. And this is one of those that is coming down to India And
Yes, and
again,
that's largely what we are seeing. I mean, we are seeing a lot of these Chinese platforms and Chinese vehicles being offloaded into various markets with different branding. In fact, some of the Benelli motorcycles that we are buying right now are of Chinese origin, and they're not really Benelis, but they've been rebranded as Benelis for the Indian market. So similarly, there are quite a few of these electric scooters, and both, like you said, yes, there are some of these bikes like the Revolt series that we also saw.
yes.
It's a Super Soco that's already in the European market. So yes, there are these rebadged electric scooters that are making their way into India, and these are two of the vehicles that we know of. If you're talking about the larger brands, since you have not mentioned what electric vehicle type we are looking at here, then yeah, the Ultros EV is also something that Tata is waiting to launch when the market is more favorable for it. Once the conditions are better, they will have the Ultros EV come out into the market as well.
All right, we'll just take one last question because we've run way beyond our 1 hour schedule. Nitin Joshua would like to know with the upcoming Honda City, how is it different from the current generation? You actually answered that, but he's hearing rumors that it has a newer engine with more power and has different CVT to reduce rubber band effect.
No, as we already put
Well, I
up on the
think
Overdrive website, there is the same. I mean, the diesel motor is carried forward, but the DOHC motor is the petrol motor. That's a new engine, so to speak. But the power output, the torque output, is still in the same zone as the outgoing car. Now, whether it feels any different to drive, whether it feels punchier or more sluggish than the outgoing car, is something that we'll only be able to tell you once we drive it, which is happening next week. And yes, it has two gearbox options. There is a manual and there is also a seven-step CVT. This is a new gearbox again, so how it performs is something that we'll let you know. But CVTs lately from Honda are really a big improvement over what they've given us in the past. Even if you look at the new Amaze and the CVT gearbox that it offers, I think they've reduced the rubber band effect by a fair margin, and I hope to see something similar with the Honda City as well.
also just
Already.
just bear in mind these stories on the Honda City. Of course, they're embargoed till the end of the month, so don't expect to see your stories out anytime immediately after the drive. You will still have to wait for some time. I think first week of July, Rohit, is when we're allowed to put these stories out. The
Yes,
first
30th of
days, in
this
fact.
month is when our review will be out.
Yeah, yeah. So there you go.
All right.
You just have to wait for those reviews to come up. But yeah, we definitely have a review on almost every variant that is available: manuals, petrols, the manuals in the automatic, and of course the petrol and the diesel as well.
All right. I think that's about it. We've come to the end of the show. Thank you so much for joining us. I just want to remind everybody that the June issue is out on the website. You can download your free copy. And while I'm talking about that, the main attraction, of course, was the Creta versus Seltos, the all-new Creta versus Seltos. And that is what we have on the show this week. In fact, tomorrow as well. So I'll just leave you with a glimpse of that right now.